Consider this a PSA. I think my subscribers are smart enough to know this, but don't buy Belle Delphine's dirty bathwater, please. You're gonna get sick. You're literally going to get literal herpes from it. Please do not, and even if you do, don't have the bright idea of ingesting it. It's sad I have to say this, but I just thought I'd comment on it because people are asking me what my thoughts are on it. Don't do it. I think that's pretty common sense. Let's get in the video. Hey RV family, keep it high, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, Review Guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be covering the brand new Immortal Bird album entitled Thrive on Neglect. Immortal Bird is a pretty avant-garde black metal band formed in 2013. They were originally made to just kind of be a recording band, but when people started enjoying their music and they started building up a little bit of a fan base, they upgraded it to live sessions as well as being just overall collaborative members of a band, which is great because they have a fairly unique sound, and part of the reason they sound so unique is they have a front woman as opposed to a front man. The different amount of resonance that Ray gives these screams, these shrieks, these growls, these different vocal structures and vocal techniques that she's employing in these compositions, the passion she exudes, the vigor she exudes, the energy that she exudes on this track listing is literally equal to just about any contemporary black metal band frontman, as well as kind of a crossover black metal or black gaze movement type of band, and I genuinely mean that. And straight away from the very first track, Anger Breeds Contempt, this track listing shows its eclectic style. Some of the riffs and the pulsating drums just groove in a way that's a little bit reminiscent of that horrendous album that dropped last year, Idol, which was a smash hit, so you'll definitely hear that if you listen to the record. You also just get these passages of quickened drum and guitar playing, and some kind of doom and gloom sludgier sections of the track as well that kind of pads out time and atmosphere a little bit. They're not afraid to slow it down just a tiny bit. And vocals that are overall a hybrid of black metal and death metal, leaning more towards the black metal side of things. The horrendous isms kind of increase near the mid part of the track where it takes a little bit of a breather and sounds so much like some of the slower sections and some of the interlude sections on that Idol record. And I also applaud the bass because the first track is a prime example of how on this record when the bass pops at times, it really just does pop. For people that want black metal that is inspired and kind of influenced by a wide range of genres from thrash to death to black to prog and everything in between, I think you will find a lot to be enjoyable about this record because in my opinion all of these styles get brought up under one roof pretty, in my eyes, effectively. House of Anhedonia is just a blasting black metal track, and Ray's shriek delivery really does add to just the classic black metal feel of this track, although the production definitely is a little bit better. And while some of these riffs can feel a little bit repetitive, I don't think they let up the aggression and that kind of overcompensates for it, especially considering these blast beats and just the overall frantic style of this track. While the third track features this disturbing riff that opens up alongside some pretty basic instrumentation considering the rest of this album, as well as Ray's usual delivery. Also, some of the ways her vocals can layer up with those shrieks and growls make her sound somewhat like a deathcore vocalist, the way they just layer up into just this hellish sound, and I especially like some of those growls near the 2-minute mark. I just love how low in the diaphragm you can tell she's really producing these noises from. Her technique is just so flawless when it comes to these shrieks and growls. She never goes off kilter. Her gutturals are just very diaphragm pushed. They're not pushed from the throat, and these shrieks are very throaty, but you can tell really produced with a lot of diaphragm support as well, and rib support just coming up in these just throat shredding anomalies. Somehow though, despite all of these ideas being implemented in a way that is very clever, very exciting, very intriguing, a lot of them are hard to distinguish from the ones that come before, and despite the fact that these ideas really do flourish and the eclectic style is very interesting in the moment, it just blazes by in a flurry, even on repeated listens. The guitars are tremolo pick, the drums can range from blast beats to some slower parts, and they're not afraid to pad out some time for atmosphere and slow it down and make it a little bit sludgier. The overall song structure and songwriting is pretty strong. The lyricism is pretty okay. Ray's vocal delivery never really stops. She never really outdoes her bar on this record, but she never really goes below the bar she sets either, and the mixing is not overproduced, but by no means raw. It lays somewhere between the very overproduced black gaze movement and some post-Norwegian 2000s era black metal that wasn't afraid to play around with better production for more audibility and proficiency. And then you have a track like Avolition in this track listing that's over 7 minutes long. Quite a few of the tracks are long on this record. Does it justify its length? I'm not really sure. I think that a lot of the ideas on this track just feel rehashed and reheated and differently executed ideas that already popped up previously on the track listing. And not because the talent levels decrease as this track listing progresses, but more so they show you these eclectic ideas that are very savory, intriguing, exciting, adrenaline-filled, exhilarating at the moment, but as they continue to come, it just ends up making Immortal Bird sound like a band that had an amazing blueprint. They laid down a great foundation, but instead of building a skyscraper, they just left up a bunch of scaffolding, called it a day in the place of an actual structure that should have been there. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of interesting ideas, and a lot of the ways they're implemented can be fresh, and I'm not saying that they lose any of the passion or any of the bombastic energy that they exude on this record. I'm just saying the memorability is a lot less than I would have hoped for after my first listen and on repeated listens. If you enjoy black metal with different influences, check this out, but I will say a lot of it can blend together. As you're listening to it, a lot of these tracks just feel like rehashed ideas that popped up on other tracks, just tweaked ever so slightly to pad out links that do not really, that should not be that long, that should not pad out time as much as they do. Some of those doomy, sludgy, atmospheric parts can feel a little bit and can feel like they are trying to pad out time and not really applying as much atmosphere as they aim to achieve. Some of those faster black metal bits just feel very run-of-the-mill and very one-dimensional, and while Ray is an amazing vocalist, she's not doing anything to blow me away except for sometimes when she can go into those very low diaphragm gutturals, as well as when they layer her vocals together with the shrieks and the growls. I wasn't that impressed by the production. It just seems so middle of the road that it is lifeless. It is not raw and blunt, but it's not overproduced, and it's somewhere in the middle that just is about the same as a melodic death metal band. I kind of want to like this record, but it just gives me so many reasons that I shouldn't, and it's sucky because I think this band has a lot of talent to apply, and I do suggest checking this record out. Still, I just wasn't personally the biggest fan of it. I do think that it's worth your time though, because even though it's not for me, it might be for you. I'm going to be giving this on my 6.5 out of 10, and that is a wrap. Please stay for the end screen links and videos that you might be interested in. Have you heard this new Immortal Bird album, Thrive on Neglect? If you have, you can let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to discuss the record with you. Like this video if you enjoyed, smash that notification bell, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and I'll talk to you next time. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.